Why do we sit here being silent, watching our leaders turn into tyrants? Have they forgotten which side they're fighting for? Checks and balances set aside and rule of laws, youth and ours, and Constitution openly ignored. Man, I'm not okay. Think we are being played. Is it time for right and left to join a greater cause? Man, I'm not okay. The rich claim to be victimized just to attack the marginalized. Is 1% really worth more than all the sick and poor? Always preaching about fellowship while planning their dictatorship. Now we've seen how all of this plays out before. Man, I'm not okay. Think we are being played. Time for you and I to join our country's call. Man, I'm not okay. Ever wonder all the mystery, why they whitewash our history, keep dividing is their plan? All in all, such a scam. Algorithm very sly, only used to spread the lies. Politicians know well, hate is simple to upsell. Man, I'm not okay. Think we are being played. Time for you and I to join our country's call.
We are not okay. America is not okay, and we all know that. Former Congressman Joe Walsh, this is The Social Contract with Joe Walsh. Let's figure out how to get okay together. Hey, Monday. Hope you are all doing well. Former Congressman Joe Walsh with you this Monday. Hope y'all had a good weekend. I had a really good weekend. You know why? Because I spent a boatload of time with my dogs. And anytime I can spend a lot of time with my two dogs, Mabel, my black labby, and Fern, my foxhound, anytime I can spend time with the dogs, I mean a lot of time with the dogs, it's just a great thing. I love dogs. I love dogs more than people. And with everything that's going on in the country these days, the world these days, and we're all fighting as best as we can because we have a fascist in the White House, and I fight every minute of every day. It seems like, man, time with the dogs is just therapy as well. Hey, the song, our theme song there at the beginning, a number of you have asked about it. It's called Man, I Am Not Okay by Federalist Number 9. Check that out on YouTube. The name of the song is Man, I Am Not Okay by Federalist Number 9 on YouTube. I just love the song. I know the folks who produced the song. And I'm doing my best to promote the song because that song, Man, I Am Not Okay, it just so perfectly captures my mood, the way I'm feeling these days. We're not okay. Like I say this a bunch, every group I speak in front of, every platform I'm on, when it comes up, we're so divided. I don't care where you are politically. When I ask Americans right now, are we okay as a nation? Are we okay right now? Almost across the board, from far right to far left, most people right now say, no, we're not okay. Now, everybody's got a different reason for why they think we are not okay, but man, there's unity right now in America right now, the feeling right now that we are just not okay as a country. I want to start this Monday with Kristi, Noem. Hey, don't turn me off. Keep the show on. Don't walk away from me. I need to begin today's show by going after Kristi Noem, the head of the Department of Homeland Security. I say at the outset, I served in Congress with Kristi Noem. Known her for a while. I don't think she's a good person. And I don't think she's the sharpest tool in the shed, as I've said before. And by the way, again, my general rule that I try to live by is I do not attack Trump voters. I don't, for a lot of reasons. I was a Trump voter. Trump voters were my voters. I helped to inflame enough of them to support Trump. They've been lied to and fooled and deceived for years. As a rule, I don't blame Trump supporters. I don't criticize Trump supporters. I don't attack Trump supporters, but I'll attack Trump a million times every day. And I'll attack my former Republican colleagues who bow down to Trump, who know better and bow down to Trump and worship Trump, and who have sold their souls to Trump. And I'll vote. I will attack people who work for Trump, like Kristi Noem, like Pam Bondi, like Kash Patel. And I'll attack hard all of Trump's media cheerleaders, media sycophants who get down on their knees every day and suck his toes. I'll go after them with everything I've got. Like Kristi Noem. Kristi Noem, right before the weekend, and we got to go back to it, said it was a tell. She said something really, really revealing, really, really offensive. She said something that should, again, right? How many times do I say this? She said something, Kristi Noem did late Friday, that should anger every single American, no matter where you stand. Should anger everybody. Keith, let's play it.
And elections is another one of those critical infrastructure responsibilities that I have as well. And I would say that many people believe that it may be one of the most important things that we need to make sure we trust is reliable, and that when it gets to election day that we've been proactive to make sure that we have the right people voting, electing the right leaders to lead this country through the days that
Stop. Those words, man, and they went around the country in a nanosecond. Kristi Noem saying, we, the government, the Department of Homeland Security, we got to make sure the right people are voting to make sure they elect the right leaders. Who the fuck are the right people? Now, let's just back up for one moment. My biggest fear and my biggest concern this election year is that, and I know he's doing it, Donald Trump is going to fuck with, mess with, try to cancel, and never accept the results of the midterms in November. It's my biggest fear. It's my biggest concern this year. It's what I spend a lot of time talking about this year. As I say, right, almost every single day, a president who would commit crimes trying to overthrow an American election, and that's what Trump did in 2020, is certainly a president who will do whatever he can, break any law to mess with and try to cancel and screw with the midterm elections. And we have just lacked, right, a whole sense of imagination when it comes to Trump. Everything he's doing and trying to do to screw with the midterms. that lack of imagination led to January 6th, because we just never, all of us good, decent Americans, could just never believe an American president, this country, would lose an election, refuse to accept the results, refuse to concede, refuse to participate in the peaceful transfer of power. And then that same president, man, in this country, he'd commit crimes trying to overthrow an election. We just didn't want to believe that. We did not have the imagination to grasp that. Trump did all of that. And it led to January 6th. I just don't want us to make that same mistake this year. So part of what Kristi Noem is doing, like everybody who's working with Trump, they're all part of the same team and the same plan, trying to fuck with the midterms. So here she is, the DHS head, and she's spending a crap load of time talking about elections. Department of Homeland Security, this is your biggest concern? Election security? Bullshit. But it's that phrase she used that caught so much attention. Kristi Noem said, we need to make sure the right people are voting so that they choose the right leaders. First off, Kristi Noem, it's not the government's job to make sure right or wrong people are voting. Elections belong to the people. So the right people, I'm assuming you mean like Republicans and conservatives? That's not the government's job. The government's job is just to make sure we have free and fair elections. That's all. That's the job of every single state in this country, to make sure that people, American citizens, have the opportunity to vote. The government doesn't weigh in on trying to make sure that certain people vote, certain citizens vote. Only their side votes. My God, that's not up to the government. In fact, that's an attack on our elections by the government. That's point number one. Point number two. So I went off on this. When I heard Kristi Noem say, the right people, we need to make sure the right people are voting. Man, every hair on the back of my head, and I still have a bunch, sprouted right up. What the fuck do you mean by the right people? That's scary language. And so I went off on this all day Friday and all weekend. And every single Trump supporter, every single Republican, every single MAGA person said, Joe, because I said these words, what she said there, regardless of party, what she said there should scare all of us. The government is going to try to make sure certain people vote. That's not what you do in a representative democracy. And when I said that, pretty much every Trump supporter said, duh, Joe. She means citizens. We want to make sure that citizens vote and not non-citizens. Duh, Joe, you dumbass. Damn near every Trump supporter fired back at me. She's talking about citizens. They're the right people. Non-citizens are the wrong people because they shouldn't and can't be voting in this country. First off, I say to them, then Kristi Noem should have just said that. We're doing everything we can do to make sure that citizens and not non-citizens are voting. She should have just said it. Why didn't she just say we're doing everything we can to make sure that only citizens, American citizens, are voting? Why didn't she just say that? That phrase, right people, I mean, even many Trump supporters agreed with me that that phrase, right people, is problematic. It's open to a whole boatload of interpretation, right? Like, there were even a few Trump supporters over the weekend who admitted to me privately, yeah, Joe, I wish she hadn't used that terminology. She should have just said citizens. Right people, man, what a stupid thing to say. It's a really stupid thing to say. And again, Kristi Noem, I know her, served with her. She's not the sharpest tool in the shed. So she is prone to saying stupid things. But I don't think she said this intending it to be a stupid thing. So I hear you, MAGA, that you agree with me that she should have just said citizens. It was problematic what she said. But I don't think she meant right people to be citizens. I don't think she meant citizens versus non-citizens. When she said right people, we need to make sure the right people are voting. I don't think she was talking about making sure citizens are voting, because the very next phrase she said, we need to make sure the right people are voting. Hey, Keith, can you replay the beginning of that for me?
And elections is another one of those critical infrastructure responsibilities that I have as well. And I would say that many people believe that it may be one of the most important things that we need to make sure we trust is reliable, and that when it gets to election day that we've been proactive to make sure that we have the right people voting, electing the right leaders to lead this country.
Stop. Thank you, Keith. Thank you, Keith. We need to make sure the right people are voting to make sure they're electing the right leaders. Boom, game up. She didn't mean citizens or non-citizens. She gave herself away right there. If she meant citizens or non-citizens, she just that next damn phrase just utterly torpedoed citizens versus non-citizens, because she said the reason we need to make sure the right people are voting is to make sure we elect the right leaders. Well, wait a minute. If she's talking about only making sure citizens are voting, well, citizens in this country, in many elections, vote for Democrats. Citizens in this country elected Barack Obama twice. Citizens in this country elected Joe Biden. There's no way on God's green earth Kristi Noem considers Barack Obama or Joe Biden to be the right kind of leaders. Do you follow me? No. There's no way. And citizens voting elected George W. Bush, elected Barack Obama, elected Donald Trump, elected Joe Biden. Citizens did that. Kristi Noem doesn't believe Barack Obama and Joe Biden are the right kind of leaders. Her right kind of leaders are Trump and far-right Republicans. We know that. So there's no way she meant, when she said right people, she meant American citizens. The phrase right leaders gave that away. Go through time. We've only got two parties in this country. American citizens elect Republicans. American citizens elect Democrats. Kristi Noem believes Republicans are the right kind of leaders. Well, American citizens have voted for Democrats a hell of a lot too. So it's not an issue of citizens versus non-citizens. It's an issue of Kristi Noem wants the right kind of leaders, i.e. MAGA Republicans, elected. And to do that, we got to make sure the right people are voting. It's got nothing to do with whether you're a citizen or not. She wants to make sure she's Part of the problem here, again, I know her, she's dumb. And they've done damage control. And Tom Homan came out over the weekend and said, I don't know what she meant. She should say what she meant. Kristi Noem came out yesterday and got her back up and defended what she said. And she didn't really explain what she said again. But there's no way when you walk through that entire sentence, right people, so they elect the right leaders, it contradicts the whole notion of citizens versus non-citizens. She gave herself away when she said, we need to elect the right kind of leaders. So to all my MAGA brothers and sisters, love you, respect you, but that dog ain't hunting, guys. She did not mean American citizens versus non-citizens. And by the way, while I'm on this topic, listen to just so you know where I come from. I am a long time proponent of voter ID. To me, it's simple. When you do something as important in this country as voting, when you go to vote, I believe you should have to prove you are who you say you are to vote in this country. I believe that. I've always believed that. And government, our federal government and our state governments got to make it as damn easy and affordable or free as possible to make sure that citizens in this country can get that proof. Photo ID, an ID, a driver's license, whatever, to prove that you are who you say you are. That's where I'm coming from. I'm a voter ID guy. But as I said, I would have voted against this SAVE Act because it went a million miles beyond voter ID. The legislation demanded proof of citizenship, so it demanded that millions and millions and millions of citizens would have to somehow get a passport or a birth certificate, and millions and millions and millions of Americans who vote don't have a passport or a birth certificate. It would have just created huge problems on that end. It would have made life really tough for women in this country who vote, who changed their names when they got married and all the rest. It was a horrible act, a horrible bill pushed by Republicans to try to make it harder for people to vote. There, I said it. But this, and it was all designed, right, to go after a problem that ain't a problem in this country. We got, and I've heard some of my former Republican colleagues screaming from the rafters, we've got millions of non-citizens voting in this country, millions and millions, trillions and gazillions of non-citizens. Oh my God, cats and dogs, all the rest voting in our elections. Kristi Noem I said the same damn thing. It's all a lie. It's not a problem. And to show you that this issue of non-citizens voting in our elections ain't a problem, all I got to do is go to my favorite right-wing think tank, the Heritage Foundation, because they've been studying this issue for a gazillion years. Keith, you got that? Since 1982. I just love data. I love facts and I love the truth. From the Heritage Foundation, not some far left, loony, progressive think tank, guys. Heritage, by the way, Heritage is not the Heritage that was the Heritage when I was in Congress. Heritage is a full-on MAGA joint now, per the right-wing Heritage Foundation, who has studied voter fraud for years. Per them, the Heritage Foundation, since 1982. I don't know how many years that is. There's been 99 cases nationwide of non-citizens voting in federal elections. 92, 02, 12, 22. In the past 43 or 4 years. You heard me right. According to Heritage, my MAGA brothers and sisters, grab that cup of coffee. You need to be listening to me right now. I say that a lot, guys, because I have a lot of MAGA brothers and sisters who listen to this show every day. According to the Heritage Foundation, since 1992, only 99 cases of non-citizens voting. That's like 2.3 non-citizens voting in federal elections nationwide since 1982. In 2024, there was just one documented case of a non-citizen voting. In 2023, there was only one documented case of a non-citizen voting. In 2022, there were two. That's it. It's a non-existent problem that Republicans jump on, thanks Keith, harp on, pounce on, to generate fear against brown and black immigrants, which is part of what they're doing with ICE and everything they've been doing all year. My former political party is full on, and it pains me to say it, full on anti-brown and black people. They're out with that now. But it's an effort by Republicans to fuck with our elections process. Non-citizens voting in this country is not a problem at all. It doesn't exist. I can say that and still say, when you vote in America in a federal election, you should provide proof that you are who you say you are. That's separate from me. But this whole, the whole SAVE Act was supposedly drawn up to address this massive problem of non-citizens voting. It ain't a massive problem. It ain't a problem at all. Know what their motivation is. Republicans want to make it harder for people to vote. I've told you this before. Back in my Republican days, back when I would huddle privately with Republicans when I was in Congress and when I'd get together with them, when we would huddle in private, Republicans would say privately that the fewer people who vote, the better they will do. Republicans know that, Republicans believe that, and Republicans now actively work as hard as they can to make that happen. Final point this morning, this Wednesday. Look, I'm a Democrat now. I've been a Democrat for 9.5 months. I'm a Democrat for now. Don't know how long I'll be a Democrat. I'm a Democrat because I believe my former party is an existential threat to democracy and the rule of law. I want to do everything I can to help the Democrats defeat that party. When it comes to most things I believe, when it comes to policy, I'm not where most Democrats are. I'm a temporary situational Democrat to help preserve our democracy and the rule of law. Both parties have problems. Both parties got issues. I'm generally kind of politically homeless because policy-wise, I don't fit in either party. I just believe my former party's issues are much more pressing, much more dangerous, and pose an existential threat to this 250-year-old experiment in democracy. But man, whenever we're so divided. And I know this because I often say things or post things criticizing both sides. I'll say things and I'll post things that will take a shot at the Democrats, try to help them get their act together, and take a shot at Republicans because I believe them to be an existential threat to our democracy and the rule of law. And whenever I do that, whenever I say anything or post anything that criticizes both parties, undoubtedly, the vast majority of each side will refuse to accept the criticism of their side. I posted this over the weekend. Keith, you got that tweet? I actually like this post. It's fun to try to crystallize a thought into so many characters. I posted this over the weekend. This Trump era has never been complicated. Unfortunately, America only has two political parties. By the way, I believe that. I wish we had 3 parties, 4 parties, 5 parties, but not. And that's a discussion for another day. Unfortunately, America only has 2 political parties. One political party, the Democratic Party, grew elitist and out of touch with working class folk. And the other political party, the Republican Party, pounced on that and won by spreading hate and fear and by lying to working class folk. Got that? Thanks, Keith. So I posted that everywhere over the weekend. Here's the Trump era. I can summarize it in about 2 to 3 sentences. We only got 2 parties in this country. One party, the Dems, man, they've grown out of touch, elitist, and they grew out of touch with working class folk, I said. And that provided a real opening for Republicans, and Republicans pounced. And Republicans have been successful by spreading hate and fear, taking advantage of how out of touch the Democratic Party has become with working class folk. The Republican Party pounced on that, and they spread hate and fear, and they lied to working class folk. And that's how they were able to win in this era. I think it makes a lot of sense, but here's my point. When I posted that, and I take a shot at Democrats, and clearly I take a shot at Republicans, pretty much every Democrat, everybody left of center, when they read that post, responded to that post and said, by the way, pretty much everybody in America didn't agree with the whole post. Every Democrat took umbrage at my criticism of the Democrats, and every Republican took big umbrage at my criticism of Republicans. The vast majority of Democrats refused to accept, acknowledge, even contemplate that criticism of Democrats, that the party has become elitist and out of touch. And that's what Trump was able to take advantage of. When I'm talking about working class people in this country, the vast majority of progressives and Democrats just said, Joe, you're crazy. You're crazy. You're wrong. Wouldn't accept it. Didn't even want to think about it. And same goes for the Republicans. So the Republicans took advantage of that, of what the Dems were doing. And Republicans, through their demagogue, spread hate and fear and lied to working class folk. And damn near every single Republican, every single MAGA person said, Joe, you're full of shit. They would not accept my criticism of their side. Now, I don't have the time because I'm wrapping up right now, and we'll get into it on another show. I just wanted to make this point, this broader point. And by the way, I'd like each side to reflect upon what my genuine criticisms of each side are. And again, I say In the grand scheme of things, I got a lot of problems with my new party, but they pale in comparison to the threat that my former party is. But I would just ask everybody to just, come on now, reflect upon that criticism of your side. Because the only point I wanted to make today was to show how dangerously divided we are. If you can't even criticize your own side, if you can't even listen to and reflect upon criticism of your side, then man, you're just way, way too partisan. And I would say then you are purely putting your side, your party above the best interest of the country, no matter what side you're on. You're way, way, way too partisan if you won't criticize your side. And we talk often about how MAGA is a cult, and I believe MAGA is a cult. They're further down this road of never, ever, 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 ever wanting to criticize Trump or their side. But my Democratic friends, way, 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 way too many of you are on that road too. If you don't understand how and why people voted for Trump, if you don't understand and can't accept how your side failed and that led to the election of this dangerous demagogue, then you're doomed to repeat the pattern, Democrats, and you're going to win the House this year without lifting a finger because Trump's such a fucking madman. But you're looking at a President J.D. Vance or something like that. If you Democrats cannot learn from what you've done wrong and understand why working class Americans fled from you, if you can't figure that out and learn from it and criticize what you've done wrong, well, then maybe J.D. Vance is going to get elected in 28. But you get my point. We're so dangerously divided. Think about it. That's like a mini experiment, a mini social experiment. And 99% of the American people are in a place where they can't even criticize their own side, their own team, their own party. That is a country that is way, way, way too partisan. That is a democracy that's in a lot of trouble. That is a country, that is a people that is putting their own party, their own side ahead above of what's best for the country. You get my point. Paxos.app, there it is, baby. Our one-stop shop AI-generated tool to help immigrants and citizens lawfully fight back against ICE. Go to Paxos.app, learn about it, read about it. It is going to be out on the streets within a matter of days. We're going to distribute this app nationally to the folks in need. We are going to focus on the cities of Portland and Minneapolis to aggressively get this app into the hands of the people in Portland and Minneapolis who need it. Our immigrant brothers and sisters, American citizens fighting the fight in Portland and against ICE in Portland and Minneapolis. We're going to run real proactive pilot programs in these two cities when we put Paxos out there on the streets within a few days. We always need your help. We need your support. We're crowdfunding Paxos so that Trump can't go after thousands and thousands and thousands of us who all give a little bit to become part of this tool to help all of us lawfully fight back against what Paxos is, what Trump and ICE are doing. Go to Paxos.app. My Substack, Social Contract with Joe Walsh.substack.com. Everything I say, do, think, write, feel, talk about, everything is right there on my Substack. Become part of the resistance community that we've tried to create with Social Contract with Joe Walsh.substack.com. If you're motivated, man, you're always welcome to become a paid subscriber. Helps to keep my voice out there. Hey, shoot me an email, anything on your mind. The Social Contract with Joe Walsh at gmail.com. That's all one word, The Social Contract with Joe Walsh at gmail.com. Thanks for listening this Monday. Let's have a kick-ass week. Be brave.
Thank you for listening. Remember to listen, follow, and share The Social Contract with Joe Walsh on Apple, Spotify. Plus, don't forget to subscribe to The Social Contract on Substack. This has been The Social Contract with Joe Walsh.